Welcome to Leveling Up with Lindsay, the podcast where we dive into leadership, small business, and everything in between. I'm Lindsay, your host and the proud owner of White Peony Boutique, a space created to empower women, build confidence, and foster meaningful connections. Whether you're an entrepreneur, a mom, a friend, or someone just looking for a little inspiration, this is your space to feel seen, supported, and inspired. Join me as we share stories, strategies, and a little bit of life's chaos while navigating what it truly means to level up in starting a business, relationship, and personal growth. So grab a cup of coffee, get comfy, and let's level up together. Well, Kayla, we're sitting down together again. This is the reason I actually started a podcast, because of Kayla. But to start, we're going to go in depth, of course, but just introduce yourself a little bit and a little bit about your background.
Well, I am so excited to be on this, and I'm excited you pulled the trigger. Thought about it for a while, and I was like, Linz, you're already doing it. It's not that hard. I shouldn't say that. It's time. It's time.
It's time. And my perfectionism, kicks in.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, my name is Kayla Keenan, as she mentioned, and I am founder of INDY Foundation. I am also a mom to two beautiful kids, Kayla, who is 5, and Crew, who is 2.5.
They're the cutest.
Yes. Blue-eyed babies. My husband, Mitch, is a farmer. Never in my life did I think I would marry a farmer. I would say he's not your typical farmer, though. That's how I typically introduce him. As people get, a picture in their head, and that's not really my husband. But other than that, I am also a professional in the construction industry. So I've been in sales for, probably 15 years. And yeah, I love to spend time with friends, family, outdoors, cabin. I am just always doing something. Sometimes it's exhausting to just look at my schedule, but then, amazingly, you do it all.
Absolutely. Kayla and I came together with clothing, of course, but also through the INDY Foundation that I am now a part of and have been for a little while now. But why don't you give everybody who maybe doesn't exactly know what the INDY Foundation is or what it stands for? Talk about that.
Yeah, so INDY is short for I'm Not Done Yet. And that is a slogan that my late husband Kyle said during his cancer battle. Shockingly, that was 8 years ago already. So in 2017, he passed away after a courageous fight with stage 4 colon cancer. I was 28 at the time, and we had both talked about, once he beats cancer, what could we do to make a difference in people's lives? And one of the things he said is, I really want to give back. I want to help people directly make an impact. And it just kind of spiraled from there. So one of his dying wishes, which I have such a different perspective 8 years later to be like, holy crap, there were some deep conversations that you didn't realize were so deep at the time. But his dying wish was, one, he never wanted to be forgotten, which is, you laugh about that because he's one of those guys that you walked in the room, he made you belly laugh. He was always just very charismatic and smiled. And so you were never going to forget him, right? But you didn't realize how deep it was and how much bigger the picture was. I don't know whether you believe in a higher power or not. Your path is already there. It's just whether you jump on it. And so basically he wanted me to get working on INDY. And I don't think he knew what that looked like. And I certainly didn't know what that looked like. So I did. He passed away. And 2 weeks later, I figured out how to form a nonprofit. Didn't really know what it was going to look like. Kind of had the bones. And it just kind of grew from there. The purpose and the passion behind it was just to help people going through cancer. I was fueled by that, obviously, to carry on his legacy and make a difference in the lives of those that are battling cancer. It really helped me heal, I think, too. Until you go through something like that, you don't really know what you need, and it's different for everyone. I think that's what I've taken away out of all this, is that everybody's journey looks a little different, but at the same time, we all help each other through it. So that is the basis of INDY. We are a 501c3 nonprofit that is located in central Minnesota, but we help people all across the state of Minnesota. We have various programs. It started as financial support, but we realized we were really helping people emotionally, and connection was kind of the piece behind it that makes us so much different than I feel like a lot of other nonprofits that are out there.
I agree. It's pretty incredible. I've been a part of the INDY Foundation now, I think going on 3 years. When I think about being a part of INDY, I feel like it's been years and years and years. However, if it is 3 years, is it? Because it just seems like that went so fast.
I think it is, honestly. Yeah.
Well, we can talk a little bit about that, but it's incredible, like the growth that has happened. And what I've told everybody is once you're part of INDY, it'll change your life forever.
Yeah.
And it sure has for me. And I've heard that from continual volunteers that have been part of different events as well. I really encourage you, if you're listening, to go to the website or follow the INDY Foundation on Facebook or any social media, because it's quite incredible what is done for local cancer warriors, their families, and their friends.
It's a different approach to helping people. We all have stories. Some of these stories are, we get to be a part of it, but they're heartbreaking, right? But the joy that we get to bring, sometimes it's the relief. Sometimes it's, they just needed a hug from someone that day. So our mission is to provide faith and financial support to cancer warriors across the state of Minnesota. And we're really grateful. I'm really grateful that it's grown into what it has, and it wouldn't be possible. It's not just me. Like I try to make that very clear. This isn't me. Yes, I started it, but it's sponsors, it's board members, it's volunteers. It's so much bigger, and sometimes I have to pinch myself, honestly, because it's awesome. Like, I wonder what it'll look like in 10 years. Yeah.
Now, we do have a board meeting coming up. Do you, off the top of your head, have any analytics, like the dollar amount that has been served here in central Minnesota?
Yeah, we are close to $700,000 that we've given back to cancer warriors. So cool. The number, I don't know exactly, but it's like close to 5,000 people that we've touched in different ways. We continually, as we grow, this is the blessing and the curse of it, right? Yeah. More and more people find out about us. And I think the hardest part about our job is I wish we could help everybody, but we're just not at that point where we have the monies to help everyone.
But we sure would if we could.
Oh, we sure would.
And we're on a mission to do that.
Yes. I think we had this conversation not long ago. In the state of Minnesota, there's over like 33,000 people that are diagnosed yearly with cancer. 33,000. And
crazy.
Multiple people on the board have asked me, what is our ultimate goal? And I was like, to help everyone that's diagnosed. And I think Ben was like, well, that's lofty. And I was like, yeah, you're right. It is. But you know what? If we can touch that person in some way, think of how cool that is.
All right. Well, that is the perfect transition to kind of take it backwards, because that's where Kayla and I are the exact same. If someone's like, I don't think, with any doubt on a goal or a mission, I am definitely a believer. We both are determined together. And so I would have thought the exact same in being like, no, we are actually going to help every single person. So I'm going to take it back to how I met Kayla through obviously Waipioni, but then I was at a golf tournament in Albany with my mom. INDY was the foundation that they were supporting for this tournament. And Kayla was there. Had a warrior with her, and I believe it was Jen Stitch, which I love her more than anything. She, to me, is the epitome of a warrior in every which way. But when I heard that, of course, Jen's story and all that she had been a part of or been through, I was so emotional. And knowing Kayla from before a little bit, but not as close as we are now, I knew I wanted to do something with Kayla and the INDY Foundation, but it really was that moment of listening to Jen's story, listening to Kayla talk, that I was like, yeah, we have to do something with the INDY Foundation. So it was funny because I believe we had a conversation, and I don't remember if you said you wanted to do something like around.
I did. I was like, I don't know why, but I really think we should do a fashion show of some sort. Yeah.
And I was like, do you know that this has been on my heart for how long? Like I've wanted to do one for so long, and the rest is history. I think we planned it in like a month and a half or 2 months. Like, wasn't it something pretty short?
Yeah, it was fall, and we said, okay, let's do it in February around Valentine's Day for Galentines and girls. And I will say, historically, INDY, we decide to do something and we act on it. And sometimes it's like, well, our first gala, we planned that in like 3 months, sold it out, raised $100,000. None of us had ever planned a gala before. We had no idea if people would come. And it's like, Yep, they sure
You just
did.
move it. So the Galentine's took place, and we had it started with monthly meetings to weekly meetings with the White Peony team and the INDY team.
Yep.
And at that time, just the way we worked so well together. And of course, meeting the warriors that walked our runway and the bigger mission of the whole Galentine's night. So it's a fashion show for a cause, essentially.
Yep.
And we have amazing music, incredible stories from warriors that are told. We have shopping, we have food, we have beverages, the whole 9 yards. It's a really incredible night. But when that was done, something is burning inside of me. And I come from, you guys probably know, credit union background. I work with board directors for many years. I always looked up to them because I was like, wow, I can't believe these people put this kind of time and effort into something in addition to all of their other to-dos. So my life mission was to be on a board and give back, but not for 15 or 20 years. It was really far down my timeline, being realistic with my kids and their age and sports and all of that.
I think your husband said, do you really have time for this, Lynn?
He maybe has said that a time.
I was like, I think my husband tells me that every day or asks me that every day.
I don't know. I was having conversation with Ben Barrett a little further too, and you, and everything felt so right. And we felt so connected so instantly with everybody that was part of the INDY team that I was like, I think I need to be a part of this in a bigger thing. And I didn't even know how that looked like or what I was getting myself into. But
no, you said, I don't know what I really bring, but I want to be a part of it and I'll be there. It was like, Lindsay, you bring a lot of things to the table. Hello.
Hello. So I joined the board of directors and the rest is history. Being a part of INDY has absolutely changed my entire life for the better. Partnering with Kayla, being on the board with some incredible people, meeting the warriors throughout central Minnesota and even connections outside of central Minnesota that will forever be in my heart forever. And friends that I've made that are warriors too is pretty awesome. So I am forever grateful. But one thing that I knew for sure what changed kind of my mind, and this is kind of aside from the giving back journey, but when we did our very first gala, and I am a true events coordinator. I love planning. I am an operations kind of organizer, for example, and watching Kayla run around, because normally when you have a big event, everyone comes to you, and how you manage that really says something about someone. And I remember watching Kayla, and I know how it goes, when you've got 50 people like, Kayla, do you want this? Do you want this? How should we have this? Do you like this? Do you like the tablecloth like this? And the way she handled herself in the way she was with her team, I was like, this girl is amazing. I think we're going to be best friends because she brings determination in getting something done. You're not an excuse person.
No.
You're like, let's move it.
Yeah.
But you are the kindest soul. And it's such an incredible mix altogether of personality that I was like, I really like Kayla. I think we could do really good things together.
Okay.
I love it.
I will say INDY is a little bit unconventional in, I'm a visionary, I'm a creative, and so I am, and it's funny because you say some of the same words, but you have to look at the bigger picture, right? It's not just, we're a 501c3, we raise funds, we give it away. No, we have a 5-year plan, we have a 10-year plan. Does it mean that we check the boxes on everything? No, but I feel like no matter what kind of business you are, and I've had this conversation a lot lately because I'm a school board member too. So whatever kind of business you are, you have to have a plan of some sort.
I agree.
You can deviate from that plan and there might be different roads that you take or unconventional in our board meetings. We have fun, we laugh. It's not we're voting yes or no. I really, really want a collaborative approach because we all bring different things to the table. We all have different backgrounds. And what I think is super special about us is none of us really have a lot of nonprofit experience or necessarily board experience, but we're all super passionate. We understand the mission and we've been a part of the warriors. We've gotten to, cry, laugh, do all the things with them. And I think we always carry that in our hearts. And we're determined on how do we bring that to more people so they get to feel it too.
And I think that is where we definitely relate, seeing the bigger picture, not only for, let's say giving a check to a cancer warrior 1 month. you and I definitely, the creativity, the futuristic thinking, the planning is something we definitely hold characteristics or values together. The one thing that I think, like, it's not just about handing that check. Like, you and I are always like, okay, how do we take it another step further? Yeah. How can we connect with them deeper? How can we make them feel that we're there for them even more? Mm-hmm. And then most importantly, like, our mission, I'd say over this last year and even further, I mean, it always has been, but a focus, let's say, is how to give them opportunities to connect with others deeper, so that it is a community more than anything.
Well, I think we saw the power of that at our first Galentine's when we had, it was 5 or 6 warriors in the same hotel room getting ready. It was all women that had gone through a various type of cancer, but just like Lindsay and I like to just sit back and just kind of like watch it. Maybe take, we're there to take pictures and videos, but I don't think people always realize like we're capturing the moment too and just taking it all 100%. In. And the first Galentine, seeing everyone share their stories. Some of them are like, yes, I went through that. They were crying. Then they're exchanging phone numbers and then they're texting each other. And, you see it on Facebook too. One of our warriors, our Galentine's warriors recently passed away, Nikki. And I saw other people that were like, it was such a great experience to be on that runway with you and share that moment. And
the comments and the thoughts and the prayers.
Yes, that is the coolest part of it, honestly.
For sure. Another thing that we, amongst all of this too, one of the things that so you live a very different life as far as career goes. I live obviously a different life with my career.
Yep.
We joined together with INDY, but I think aside from INDY, I look at you and I look at like our true core mission and values in life, period. And would you say, Kayla, that before Kyle's cancer diagnosis, I feel like you've always had something in you to give back to others?
Yes. I mean, that's my love language. I love to give gifts. I think at a young age, our family was taught to give back, and that can mean a lot of different things. It can be monetary, it can be your time, it can be a simple thing. I grew up in a family of entrepreneurs, and I will never forget this. So my great-grandfather, I was lucky enough to spend a lot of time with him when I was younger, and my mom had me very young. I want to say it was like 4 or 5, and he looked at me and he's like, "You're going to be the president of the United States one day." I have no desire to be the president of the United States, for the record, but I do have a desire to lead and to give back. And I think you can argue that sometimes you're born with those traits, right? But to an extent, you also learn them. You see them from your family. Yes, I always had a desire from a young age. I was driven to do more. And I laugh because I'm like, people are like, how do you work full time and do INDY? And I'm like, honestly, I've worked 2 jobs since I was 16 years old. I don't know what to do otherwise. I have to be busy. I have to have something going on.
You're definitely a doer. You definitely know my story with my grandparents and what they mean to me. I didn't know that about your grandpa. I think that is so cool. So that's another thing that we have in common. Growing up next to our grandparents, and really, truly, I think that helped our leadership and our guidance for sure. So it's pretty special.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the other thing is like working 2 jobs. So I have always had something else going on. I think before I came back from college, because my college career ended short, I had 3 jobs at one point. And then even with having Haley kind of young, it was always something. But the one thing with my kids, both in sports and growing business, being a part of the INDY Foundation, and I think was coaching at one time, I said, like, this isn't a job. This isn't a job for me at all. Like, this is actually my outlet to like escape and meet other people and just do something that is incredibly, on a selfish note, fulfilling for me. But I think the giving back comes from leadership and comes from very young, for sure.
You've definitely mentored me, not necessarily intentionally, but I'll call you and be like, okay, Linz, what do you think about this? Or you help with the vision and, well, here's what I do, or here's what, and you even bring up back to when you worked at the bank. You're like, this is what happened when, there was board members that I worked with, or when you were managing people. Yeah. So I think, just having you as an outlet, both professionally and sometimes personally, right?
Absolutely.
You can't just talk about work and not be like, I have to tell you what's going on in my life or what happened this week, or when you had your puppy, you're like, oh, my freaking dog is eating my packages again. That was multiple weeks of your life.
Oh, I love that. No, our phone calls with like Kayla and I too. And I'll even ask her like advice about the boutique because my girl here loves to shop.
I do.
But she's a good perspective though. The thing I love about Kayla, selfishly, for White Peony is she brings such a good insight from like a consumer perspective because you're very good at putting yourself in like a 30,000 foot view is often how I refer to it. You're not just here saying like, yes, I want to buy the shirt. Like you are so good at looking at our store and what we've got going on. And it means a lot to me because that also shows how much you care for a betterment. But so our conversations when we call each other to ask maybe a simple question end up being a solid hour or so.
Or you get 5-minute long voice messages. Do you know anyone that sends voice messages as much as Lindsay? I don't.
Well, when I'm in a hurry, which is typically on the run 24/7, Abby behind the scenes here is laughing because she's like, yep, I've received my fair share too. And for all of you listening, maybe we'll start a group for those who receive voice messages from Lindsay.
Actually, I'm jealous because your car connection must work better. When I try to do it and my car is connected, you can't hear it. So then you're doing them when you're driving and you're like, hey, I'm driving, but I need to just send you this quick. And then it's like this 5-minute long thing. Yeah. But it works. It's awesome.
That is one quality we share is creativity. And everybody on my team will get these too, because if I'm going from one meeting to another, I know I can't sit on the phone for a really long time. So I'll send voice messages with an idea so it doesn't get lost. Like I really need to like say to Abby, hey, I don't want to forget to send this to you, but I switched this date to this date. So hope that's okay. Bye.
Yeah.
Just have to get it out there.
Well, I think we've talked about this before too. Sometimes when you're a creative or a visionary, your brain doesn't stop. And so, especially for me leading up to events or big meetings, I'll wake up at 1 a.m. and I'm a true believer that if it's on your mind, you need to write it down or you'll forget about it. I really started this when I was pregnant because I had insomnia so bad where I would wake up at 1 a.m. and instead of scrolling Facebook or shopping continually on Amazon, because that was really bad for a while, I started channeling some of that energy into journaling, or I have a half-written book in my notes, ideas, sayings, and I know you do that as well because maybe it's nothing at that time, but all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, that's right. I am going to do something with it.
It's kind of cool though. The notes in my phone are like 5 miles long. Like I've got so many notes.
I do too, but I recently did a podcast on what would your obituary say, and I leaked to everyone that my obituary is written in my notes section. So you think anyone else is going to write that about me? Hell no.
Now when I get up in the middle of the night, I know what I'm going to do.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll share it with you just to make it easier.
I love it.
I'll give you my phone code. I love it. Well, the thing here is, it's pretty incredible. We're obviously in the mission of INDY together, but we both live different lives with different focuses, right? We both have kids, husbands that are amazing. We both work our tails off, I think, and are moving 24/7. But what is so cool is that we each have our moments where our schedules are tough sometimes and our schedules are chaotic a little bit. And it's so cool to find somebody out there that shares very similar interests and values and missions.
Yes.
To come together for something like to just give back in such a greater purpose. Because it is an indie. It's so cool making it bigger and moving things forward. But on a personal level, it's pretty incredible when you can find someone like a friend to relate with, but as determined as one another, I guess.
Yes. My husband will even say, he's like, God, you and Lindsay, like I see similarities. And I started laughing because I've never really said anything to him. And I was like, yeah, she's my sister from another mister.
Literally.
Like I have brothers. You have a brother.
Yep.
It's funny when you find those people. I often think of who you hung out with when you were younger in 6th grade. And my mom always tells me, she's like, Kayla, it's super rare to have friends from your childhood. Yeah. And I do. I have 2 best friends that we've been friends for a long time, but friendships are also work, right? You have to stay connected. And as we get busier, you have to make sure that you're texting or snapping or however you communicate. But I think as you grow, your circle changes, and for good reasons. I am a big believer in energy and being around people. And that's the first thing that I felt with a lot of your staff and you at White Peony. I saw your energy online. I saw your energy in your live sales. You were always your authentic self. Your kids were running behind your camera when you were in your basement, or you're drinking wine with their friends. And there's something to be said about finding people who are true, real, raw, and accepting. Like, you don't need more friends at 38 or whatever age you are. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Abby's laughing. I mean, you know what I mean though? Like it's I don't know.
You're busy and you're on a mission pretty much 24/7. So I agree with that. But I think it's so cool. So I believe that how powerful is it when you can connect to people? And I have said this even as I'm watching Autumn run around in the store right now, and I think about like our friendship and what that's going to also. But how cool is it when you can connect with somebody and it strengthens the impact that you can make on others?
Mm-hmm.
And that is, I want to leave that very broad too, because of course for Indy, like we can do more together than we could individually, but also like in our community, into other people around us. And the energy is just clearly better when me and Kayla are together.
But I want to ask you something too. Like, how often do people come up to you and say, Lindsay, I love watching you. What you're doing is amazing. I get that a lot, and I like clam up. I'm like, thank you. Because I struggle with, imposter syndrome.
Yes.
I struggle with, it's not about me. It's just who I am, and that's what I do. Mm-hmm. And so, if that happens to you and you're listening to this, I just don't know what to say. Like, thank you. Thank you for telling me. Like, I appreciate that someone is listening and they appreciate what we're doing, but I know I've seen you. Well, I've seen people tell you that.
I think there's power in aligning with the right people. I've told my husband this, that for me, White Peony has changed my life for the better. Growing up a little bit insecure as a girl, we all go through these different things, right? But when I finally stood ground in White Peony and what I was going to do is when I really started stepping into my own confidence. And then I really started being selective in who I surrounded myself with here. Mm-hmm. And once you do that, let me tell you, the opportunity in the universe responds, because the energy elevates when you align yourself with the right people. And I feel that wholeheartedly when I step into a room when we're doing anything with Indy. I'm like, it doesn't feel like a job. It doesn't feel like a task. It feels like I'm with a different family. Like it just feels right. And I think that's because we, and you selfishly have aligned yourself with the right people as well. And I know you've talked about that with like people on the board or what you want that to feel or look like in the future. Mm-hmm. I would say for anyone listening, you know, we all go through seasons of life with busy, with family, with work events, work things, the highs and lows and everything in between. But find yourself somebody or someone's that align with your values, maybe your mission, your purpose. And let me tell you, the sky's the limit. And sometimes you have to selflessly step out of your own comfort zone. I'm not telling everyone to go find a nonprofit to be a part of, because I know everyone's schedules and lives are a little bit different. But what I am going to tell you is I have volunteered 1,000,000 different places, and I'll continue to do that. Don't get me wrong. But there's where in Kayla, in her mission, and everything in the Warriors, I have never felt so much as a family. Mm-hmm. So it is important. And I would recommend seeking out that friend, that neighbor. One of my very best friends, she moved in, this is years ago, I think 18 years ago. She built a house like shortly after we built our house, and like 4 doors down. I'm talking about Tara. Mm-hmm. And I was like, God gave me you because he gave me a really crappy college roommate. And I could do a podcast episode just in that alone. But what I'm going to tell you is I was like, okay, what I didn't realize in the moment, but like we both were in a stage in our lives that were completely chaotic, trying to climb the corporate ladder. you know, like our husbands, I think were gone for work all the time. And little by little, we like made ourselves kind of get together. I mean, we're 4 doors down, for gosh sakes, but like we did. And then the rest is history. And I've never felt so aligned with someone. I also say with Tara, like I do with Kayla, she is like the sister I never had too, but it is incredible. So find your person. And if you have that person, never, ever, ever, ever forget to tell them they're your person. Thank them. Tell them why. It's important that the people you love need to know that they're making a difference.
I did a podcast the other day and I said, tell people you love them.
I love that.
It could be a stranger because you just don't know. Life is short and seasons. I went through seasons that I never thought I would go through. I had people in those seasons that helped me get through it that maybe aren't a part of my life anymore. And you don't always know why, and you don't always understand why, and that's okay. But if you can find the people that help you get through those seasons, and maybe they continue on your entire life, maybe they don't.
And you could be that for someone else too.
100%. Yeah.
Which I think you've proven that you've done plenty of times. Through INDY, of course.
Yes.
So through all this, Kayla, I'm going to ask you just a couple questions before we wrap up. But what has purpose taught you about resilience, not just in your work, but in your life?
I think it's 2 things. It's purpose and passion, right? Life is going to throw things at you that sometimes are really hard. And I experienced that. I became a widow at 28 and it was really hard. And I remember people saying, I don't know, you know, what you're going through on a daily, and I don't know how you're doing it, but it was just my life at the time. I think you have to continue to know who you are. And that's when I probably hit rock bottom, to be honest, but I had to find an outlet because I had to be the support for my husband who was really sick at the time. I had to find an outlet for myself and make sure I knew who I was so that I was strong enough to help him get through his days because he was in an extreme health battle, right? He was fighting for his life. Resilience is not only something, but empathy goes along with it. I think that's the biggest takeaway that I got from the hardest season of my life is you never know what people are going through. I didn't share a lot of days because selfishly, I didn't want to be a burden on someone, but sometimes I just didn't want to talk about it. The hardest thing during a cancer battle, especially as a caretaker, is people want to know and want to ask you questions, but it became mentally exhausting. I never thought I would start a nonprofit. I had no experience in a nonprofit, but it became on my heart and on my mind, and that became my purpose, to make a difference. I always was a giver and a helper. My purpose was INDY, which is crazy to think about 8 years later. Crazy. And it's shifting, right? Because as I've had kids and a new husband, I thought INDY was going to be my full-time job and that's what I was going to do. And as I've grown into it, it's like, cancer is always going to be a part of my story to an extent. But it's okay to build something, and maybe that's not your purpose forever. It's a season. It's okay to build something. I'll always be a part of INDY to some extent, but I didn't. A couple of years ago, I think you asked me and Ben asked me, I didn't want to be in the day-to-day because it became emotionally a lot.
Too much. Which makes complete sense.
So I don't know if I answered your question, but
you did.
There's a lot to purpose, passion, empathy, and resilience.
I agree. What do you hope people take away from your story, Kayla, about living with more heart, more connection, more courage? I've heard you say this time and time again, but I think it is very, very, very important to repeat.
If it's on your heart and it's on your mind, act on it. I think so many people go through life and have these big, grand ideas and visions that they never act on.
Yes.
And I think how sad, because our world, any CEO, you can read a lot of books, right? A lot of leadership books, and they'll all tell you, I didn't have everything figured out. I just did it. And being a doer, there's days where I'm like, gosh, I wish I could go back and be more organized when we started INDY or do this differently. But if you never took that leap, Lindsay, would you be stuck in the same thing? Exactly. Would you just be coasting through your career? So I really think heart, connection, and courage comes back to one, make sure you know who you are.
Oh, that's powerful. And I agree with you wholeheartedly.
You have to. I thought I knew who I was at 28. Some days I still don't think I know who I am.
Sometimes you need a little, it's not out of the ordinary to have a little reevaluation.
100%. 100%. And more than anything, going through what I went through changed me, obviously. In some ways it softened me. In some ways it probably made me harder. Heart and passion can do so much. And connection.
Yes. You always say, I hear this from you time and time again, you never know. Tomorrow is never promised. And you're living proof of that with Kyle. I have been changed. I think that to me has been really life-changing. On a business side, starting things I did was one foot in front of the other. It's brave. It's scary.
Yep.
But at the now connecting truly with these incredible warriors and people that are diagnosed with cancer every single minute of every day. I literally have to remind myself, even in the times that it is days are emotional or stressful, or you're like, I'm not good enough. I literally, Indy and the people I've met have reminded me in my own head, yeah, life's too short. You are doing really good things.
Yep.
Keep moving. People need you. You know, like it's a refresh, I think, in my own head. But
life is short. I always say, do the things, buy the things, eat the ice cream. I mean, we're kind of in a heavy world right now. And I think back to last week, like there was just a lot of things that happened in our world and it was emotional. And I was like, you know what? I was sitting at dance with my daughter and I'm like, we're going to go to Dairy Queen after. We're going to sit on a park bench. I'm just going to put my phone away and just listening to her. Why do you think the lake is green right here? And just the innocence. Yes. And we just enjoy it. My husband texted me. He's like, you okay? Where are you? And I was like, I'm at the park. We're just enjoying life for 15 minutes and escaping. And I've found a lot of beauty, and I'll go to a random city and walk somewhere and just clear my head.
I love that about you because I feel like we really do take in the little moments like that.
Have to.
The same. I recently did like a short podcast and I was like, I cannot stress this enough. We can control what we focus on.
Yep.
And when your life, things get chaotic, sad, traumatic, good, everything in between, to sit and like I sit at my girls' softball games or something, like I've had a stressful, I've been in tears twice maybe because the day was crazy. And then I go and I put like, I'm like, I can't wait to get to softball because I sit there and everything else stops except for watching them. And that is being with our kids and just those kind of things. So focusing on what
the moments,
the
moments
little
together,
moments, breathing that deep breath of fresh air when it's a crisp fall day, sleeping with the windows open. Like when I do that, I purposely fill myself with gratitude in these moments because I'm like, how lucky am I? You know?
And I think my biggest realization was after Kyle got sick, you appreciate those things more. But then my mind was like, it shouldn't have gotten to this point where he had to be sick to appreciate the small moments or do the things together. And we're all guilty of that. I see it time and time again from different families. And then I wonder, I'm like, dang, not that you wish cancer or things to happen upon anyone, but sometimes it brings families back together or it brings certain people closer. And there's beauty in that. So don't just take every moment in and don't take it for granted, because I would give nothing more than to obviously have more time with Kyle, but his time was done here, and he, for 34 years of his life, he left a really, really big impact. You never even met him. And I have people tell me all the time that they feel like they've met him
100%. Maybe
from how I carry him on and honor him, but also through our mission.
So if there's one sentence that we can leave with everybody, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it would be like, live life. It's too short.
I like that.
I was like,
yeah, I have nothing more to say. No, I think that's good.
Kayla, thank you for sharing your heart, your story, and your strength with us today. Every time I sit with you, I'm reminded that leadership isn't about titles. It's about showing up, about loving people well, and about standing in the gap when someone needs it most. Friends, I hope this conversation inspires you as much as it inspires me. If you take one thing away today, let it be this. When you follow purpose, you will find your people. Kayla and I are living proof of that. White Peony didn't partner with Indy by chance, and I didn't join the board just to fill a seat. Every step was God weaving a story that was bigger than either of us could ever have written. So whatever mission is on your heart right now, don't ignore it. Follow it. Step into it. And look around for the people who are called to walk it with you. Because when purpose brings people together, the impact goes further, deeper, and wider than you'll ever know. To learn more about the INDY Foundation and how you can get involved, we'll link everything in the show notes. Thank you for listening. Thank you for showing up. And thank you for being a part of this journey with me. Until next time, keep leading, keep giving, and keep leveling up. Thank you for listening. If you found this information helpful, please share it with a friend. If you're looking for more information on the topics we covered, please head to the show notes below. And if you wouldn't mind leaving a 5-star rating and review, this would help this mission and our journey to get started. Let's make today and every day an opportunity to level up. Until next time, keep dreaming, keep striving, and keep making a difference.